In this video, I'm going to talk about the number one thing you must avoid. That is the number one thing that you must not do if you want to compound your wealth efficiently in the stock market. And it's this: you must avoid fees. Now you might be wondering, well, how am I paying fees? Well, there's many ways people get duped into paying fees. The most common way would be to let a perfect stranger manage your money. And typically a financial advisor charges about 1% a year to manage someone's money. Now I have to say, I used to have a financial advisor back in the early 2000s when I didn't understand the stock market. I was scared of the stock market. I thought stock market investing was complex, that it takes a lot of time. And I thought, like most people, that the financial advisor would do better with the money than I could do myself. None of that is true. So here's what financial advisors mainly do. They mainly take clients' money and stick it into a variety of funds and let it sit there. That's all they do. Now, that's actually considered good investing if you're in good, low-cost funds. The problem is about half of the financial advisors put clients into actively managed mutual funds, which have more fees. Now, let's rewind a little bit. The financial advisor charges about 1% a year. That may not seem like a lot, but it is. So let me give you an example. Let's imagine we have $300,000 invested for 25 years, and we're getting an annualized 10% return. At the end of year 25, that would be worth about $3.25 million. Now, if you tack on that small, little, harmless 1% financial advisor fee, it's going to be worth about $2.6 million. You just paid $650,000 in fees. Now, it really makes no sense because good investing, if you want to go about it this way, I use options because I think options are the absolute best tools and they've definitely boosted my returns, no questions asked. But another way to invest is just buy low-cost funds and let it sit there. So why should you pay a financial advisor to buy funds and let it sit there? Why should you pay 1% a year? But it gets worse because, like I said, I think about half of the financial advisors put clients into actively managed mutual funds, and those have more fees. So I have a client named Kim. I'm a stock market coach. I have a client named Kim. First thing I ask is, do you have a financial advisor? She said yes. And I look over their portfolio. Her advisor had 80% of her portfolio for 18 years, by the way, in 2 actively managed mutual funds. These funds, over the long term, underperform a low-cost S&P 500 fund. Almost 95% of them, it's a lot, underperform a low-cost fund. Now, why is this happening? Well, for 2 reasons. It actually speaks to how hard it is to outperform a low-cost S&P 500 index fund or ETF over the long term. That's number one. But number 2, these mutual funds have internal fees because the money is being managed by a mutual fund manager. Now, that mutual fund manager, they want to do well. Like, trust me, they want that money to grow and they would love to outperform a low-cost S&P 500 fund. But the fact is, they don't. And these fees, internal fees, actually suppress the share price of the fund. So get this, Kim comes to me, her account is worth, her portfolio is worth a little under $1 million. When I looked at the funds she was in, they've underperformed a low-cost S&P 500 fund by more than half over a 10-year period. And it gets worse the longer you go out. So if she would just have had her money in a low-cost S&P 500 fund and not had an advisor, she would have about $2.5 million today. That's $1.5 million that she could have more, but she doesn't because she trusted a perfect stranger. And look, I'm a stock market dork. I love the stock market. It's, in my opinion, the easiest money that can be made. It's truly passive income. You essentially click buttons, buy dominant companies, use options to create income, use options to create these asymmetric trades. And it is really the easiest money that can be made. And so I tell everyone about the stock market. I talk to everyone I see about stock market investing. And the conversation always goes like this. Oh, so you have a financial advisor? And they say, yeah. And I say, oh, and they're like, yeah, he's good. I have a good financial advisor. He or she is a good financial advisor. First of all, they don't even know what that means. They basically, I ask them, what's your money in? They have no idea. I mean, I want you to think about that. You work your whole life and then you hand your money over. Think about what we've been sold. You work your whole life, then you hand your money over to a perfect stranger, and then you look the other way, and you have no idea if your money's doing well or not. So the 2 points about fees in a financial advisor. Number one, that 1% fee adds up to a ton, and most people can't beat a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, so you can easily retire with more money by just doing that on your own and letting it sit there. Point number two, financial advisors, many of them, still stick people in actively managed mutual funds. These funds end in an X. So if you pull up your statement, if you have a financial advisor and you're wondering, am I in these funds? Look at your statement, look at your ticker symbols. If your ticker symbols end in an X and don't say index fund, then you are likely in an actively managed mutual fund. But also think about this. You've given your money over to a financial advisor to manage, but then they're now giving it to someone else to manage. That is the fund manager of the actively managed mutual fund. Does that even make any sense to you? So that's one way people pay fees. Actively managed mutual fund and a financial advisor. Another thing that people do is, let's say they have a 401k and they'll pick, a check mark. Yeah, I want to be in this aggressive fund or conservative fund, but they never look at what their money is in. So if you do have a 401k, you need to look at your ticker symbols. 401ks are notorious for being fee-ridden. Like the only funds they let you select are fee-ridden funds. And it's literally hundreds of billions of dollars every year are paid in the form of fees by people in these funds. So if you are in a 401k, I strongly advise that you look at your ticker symbols. If they end in an X and don't say index fund, you're in one of these funds. I know this doesn't seem like exciting. Avoid fees. That's the number one thing you can do to boost your wealth, to boost the growth and the efficiency of your portfolio. But it is the truth. You have to avoid fees. When I walk around, I'm in a city or whatever, I'm looking at people, I'm thinking to myself, they have no idea what's going on. They have given their money over to a perfect stranger and they've looked the other way and they have no idea if their money is in good funds or bad funds. Compounding your wealth in the stock market efficiently and quickly is also about the things you need to avoid. And I will be talking about the do nots and things you need to avoid in the videos coming up. I hope to see you there.